completed the creation of the corporate book. Now we will see the data entry. So there are two ways of creating of a asset. One is directly creating assets in the FA module, and other one is bringing over the particular asset from AP through something called mass addition process. 90% of the cases it will be done from the AP module, but I'll also show you how to create an asset directly in the FA module. Go to asset workbench, click on quick additions, okay, and do not enter any asset number generally, because we are actually going for the auto generation of the asset number. Asset description, even though it looks like a drop down, it's not really a drop down. You can enter any description. So you can say purchase of computer software, say purchase of Oracle licensing software, and category. What is the major category and minor category? Major category is computer. So this is where I was saying, in the minor category you should be able to see only those related to computer. So in the major category, if I select say aircraft, and in the minor category you should be able to see only aircraft related, because this particular minor category is set as the dependent value set. Computer software. And asset key, as I mentioned, asset key is an additional way of associating details to your asset. So there are a couple of assets here, like I have created two values. One is the domestic and other one is the international. So if you feel that this particular asset is a domestic asset, select domestic, and if you feel it's an international asset, create select the international. It's a other way of grouping of your assets. So as Subbu has mentioned that, yeah, based on his requirement, you can have the project number or something like that in this particular asset key, and you can associate that in the asset key, or you can select that particular asset key value when you are creating an asset. This is an optional one. So in this case I will select domestic. So mentioning that, I mean, so when I select a domestic, then I can, at the end of the day, I can run some standard report or custom report, which will show the details of all the assets with asset key of domestic. So which will give me my details of my domestic assets. Book type, what is the book? Reliance Corp. And what is the cost of this particular asset? Say 100,000. Okay. And depreciation method, prorate convention, everything is automatically defaulted from the asset category, whatever you have assigned here. If you remember, in the asset category definition, we have mentioned the method as well as the prorate convention. It is defaulted. If you want, you can change it to any other depreciation method. Similarly, prorate convention also, it is defaulted. You can change it to some other prorate conventions here. Okay, and then put your cursor here. Number of units is 1, so this is just one asset, so put the number of assets as 1. And expense account, this is the depreciation expense account. This is the important account which is required when you are setting up an asset. Click on this drop down. So what is your company? 01, department 000, and these other segments are actually defaulted from your asset category.
Company 02, Arvind.
No, we are in Reliance. I mean, as I said, like FA is at a ledger level, so I can go for 01 or 02. Reliance Textiles, Reliance Cotton. Earlier, whatever we have seen for AR is Reliance Cotton Extraction, which is under Reliance Textiles. Hence, the company code is 02. But now in FA, which is at a Reliance ledger level, either you can go for 01 or 02. Don't use 04 or 03. Use 01 or 02. Anyone should be fine. Okay. So 01 should be fine here. Location. So this is where I mentioned as far as the location is concerned. So if I select country as India, as far as state is concerned, I will be able to see even select say something else. City also Atlanta. The reason being, these things are not set up as the dependent value set. Some building. Okay. And now in this particular drop down, I am not able to see any states related to India, because in the value set, in the independent value set, somebody needs to go there and create those values. So for the time being, I'm just picking up some existing values. It do not have any impact for us. Okay. So you can create your own states and select that particular value, and you can create your own cities and select that particular value here and click on OK. Click on done. You'll be seeing a message transaction saved for asset number 170572. These are some references. 170572 is my asset number. 170572 is my asset. Now you can come back to this particular asset workbench. Enter your asset number 170572 and what is your book? Reliance Corp. Click on find. You will be able to see the asset whatever is being created. And if you click on books, select the book and put your cursor here, you should be able to see the cost of the asset, okay, depreciation method, date placed in services, systems date. Today we have created this, and date placed in services 8th of October 2017. Prorate convention is following month, and prorate date is 1st of November 2017 based on our prorate calendar. So that means now if you run a depreciation for this particular asset for the month of October, system will not calculate any depreciation. The reason being prorate date is following month. If you want, we can change this to, I created one more convention by name Reliance same month. Okay. If I go with this particular option, my prorate date is 1st of October 2017. So that means if I run the depreciation program, system will calculate depreciation on this particular asset. Okay. I made this particular change, click on done. And also just observe these values, something called YTD depreciation, accumulated depreciation will compare to this particular screen once a depreciation program is ran. So as of now, we have just added the asset. We do not have any existing depreciation amount, YTD depreciation and accumulated depreciation. Everything is zero. Okay, click on done. Okay, so this is the one way of adding of an asset. Okay, so when you add this particular asset, run the depreciation program, and then at the end of the month, run your create accounting program. System will create a journal entry: asset cost account debit 100,000 rupees, asset clearing account credit 100,000 rupees. Okay, but there is also another way of that. This is the one way of creating asset. There is another way of creating an asset from AP. Generally, the asset is directly added from AP. The reason being, when you purchase an asset, obviously there is a payment involved. Am I right? You are not
Yes.
taking this particular asset free of cost. You are purchasing asset from a vendor. So when you are purchasing an asset from vendor, so obviously there should be an AP invoice. So create an AP invoice for this particular asset and then run a program, some program. I'll tell you those details. That will push the data from your AP to fixed assets mass addition. Fixed assets mass addition is nothing but your fixed assets interface table. As I said that whenever the data is moving from one module to another module, or when the data is coming from the external systems to Oracle, it passes through something called your interface table. Okay, so once you run the program in AP, the data gets pushed to your fixed assets mass addition interface table, and there you need to add some details and then run one more program. Once the program is run, the data will be available in the fixed assets module. Now we will see that entire process. Okay, first go to your payables super user Reliance postpaid INR. So if you remember, we have completed our AP setups for this. So Reliance postpaid INR, create an fixed assets invoice under Reliance postpaid AP. Go to invoices. Let me check if the periods are open. October period is already open. That's why. Invoices, entry, invoices. If you remember, the vendor whatever we have created is, I think, ABC. Supplier side. Invoice date is today's date. Invoice number whatever is there on the copy of the invoice, which will be say ABC FA 100 some number, and amount is 150,000 INR. Okay. Click on lines. 150,000 INR. Okay, and then if you scroll right, there is something called asset book. These are actually optional. If you want, you can enter the asset book and asset category. Okay, this being FA related, we will enter that, or you can leave it as optional. Okay, so these details are actually coming from the fixed assets module. Okay, save this and also you should obviously complete the distribution lines, right? What is my invoice amount? 150,000, and I should be using a asset clearing account, that is a clearing account which is linked to my asset category of computer software. So computer software is the asset category, and for this particular asset category definition I've used an asset clearing account. So this is the clearing account. I should use the same clearing account when I'm creating my AP. Okay, if I do this, what will happen is there is a field called track as an asset. Okay, this checkbox will be automatically defaulted. Okay, if I try to uncheck, system will not allow me to uncheck this checkbox. So only those assets or those lines which are marked as a track as an asset, only these lines will be pushed to, or like only these particular AP invoice lines will be pushed to fixed assets module once we run a particular program here. If this particular checkbox is not checked, then these lines will not be pushed to your AP. So obviously you need to select all those, you need to enter account code combination which is linked to your asset category, and once you enter that particular account code combination here, automatically track as an asset checkbox will be automatically checked. If I try to enter any other code combination here other than the asset clearing account, say take an example, I select some salary account or something like that. Some account, some sales or whatever, some account. See, track as an asset checkbox is not checked. Okay, so delete this particular line. Okay.
Arvind, you have this track as an asset in the invoice lines also, right? There, can you check it?
Let me check in the lines. It is there in distribution, but I don't remember if it is there in the lines.
It is there. I think I've just seen it. Yeah, here.
Okay, yeah. Anyways, like obviously, as you know, like lowest level takes the significance. In the lowest level, if you have already entered, we need not again come here and enter that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So I have entered this particular distributions, 150,000. Okay. Save this. Okay. You need to first validate the invoice. And it is mandatory that this should also be accounted and transferred to GL. Only if it is accounted and transferred to GL, then only this particular line will be eligible to be sent to FA. Not only validation, accounting is also important. That's the condition. Okay. Now it is accounted. Now run a program called view request, submit new request, uh, mass additions create. That's the name of the program. What is the GL date? 8th of October. So it is going to now pick up all the AP invoice lines which are tracked as an asset and which has got a GL date on or before 8th of October 2017. Okay. So now we have got only one invoice line. So hopefully that should be picked up. And what is the book where you want to transfer this to Reliance Corporate book? Click on OK. Submit. So wait for this particular program to be completed, and once this particular mass additions create program is completed, as the name itself says, it is creating records in the mass additions table. Let me check. So go to fixed assets, super user, mass additions, go to prepare mass additions, and what is my invoice number? ABCFA 100. Okay, so this is the line which is interfaced now. FA mass addition, so it is interfaced by with my user ID just now. Okay, so remember this is still in the FA mass addition, which is nothing but FA interface table. It is not yet still not yet created as an asset. So here you need to do a couple of things here. So here you can see the status is queue. Click on open. Okay, you need to add, you need to actually change the status from new to post and then run one more program. That particular program is going to pick up all those lines in the FA mass additions interface table with the status of post. It will pick up only those lines with the status of post. Now if I try to change the status to post, there are some mandatory fields. So complete this expense account. complete this employee location. If you remember when you are doing a data, what do you call asset creation manually, even in the asset creation manually also these two are mandatory fields. Okay, and any other things? Yeah, description is also mandatory. What you can say, Windows license purchase. That's it. And depreciation method, life, everything is already defaulted from the asset category. Click on done. Now it is in post status. Now run the program called post mass additions. What is the book? Reliance Corp. This is just a report. First one is the mass additions post, which is actually pulling the data from this particular mass additions table and creating an asset. And second one is the just a report. Now wait for the request to be completed. Okay, it is completed. Mass addition posting, look for the output of this particular report, which will give you the details of the asset it has created. So it has created the asset number 170573 for your asset. Now go back to the mass additions and check the status of that particular record. Earlier we have changed the status. First it has come in a new queue, and then we change the status from new to post, and now we ran the post mass addition program, which has created an asset. And now check the status of that particular row. It is posted, means it is posted to fixed assets module. Now this row will be no longer picked up by the mass additions program if you rerun the mass additions program. Okay, asset is already created. Now go to assets, asset workbench, and what is the asset number which it has created? 170573. This is the asset it has created. Now click on source lines. Here you can see, if you click on source line, you will be able to see the corresponding invoice details. But whereas for the other asset which you have created manually, okay, for that particular asset, if you click on source line, this will be actually blank because that has not come from any source. It is created manually within FA. And also go to books, put your cursor here, you will be able to see the cost, and everything is blank. And also again, I'll change this particular prorate convention to same month, so that we'll be able to see the impact of the depreciation if I run the depreciation. So the reason why we need to use the AP module in order to create a fixed asset is two reasons. One is obviously you have a requirement to make a payment of that particular invoice. Obviously, you are not getting that particular asset free of cost. If you are getting that asset free of cost, then directly create that asset in maybe FA. But you are making some payment to the vendor, so that is the one reason why you need to create that particular invoice. Okay. And the second reason is, if you look from an accounting perspective, when you create your AP invoice, the journal entry is asset clearing account, whatever is entered in your AP invoice distribution is debited. Okay, and AP liability account is credited. So this is the normal general entry when you create your AP asset. Account which is mentioned in your charge in your AP invoice distribution will be debited and liability account will be credited. And what is the general entry when you make a payment of this? What is the journal entry? Anybody? Hello?
Cash account.
Sorry?
Cash clearing account.
Yeah, AP liability account will be debited, and your cash or bank clearing account, or just the cash or bank account, depending on whether you're using cash management or not, will be credited. So these two are knocked off. This is in AP. And in FA, when you add that particular asset, the journal entry will be asset cost account will be debited. Okay, based on the accounting rule, debit what comes in, and credit is going to the asset clearing account which is used in the AP. If you remember this asset cost account and asset clearing account, the total code combination is coming from the asset category. Okay, so again this is also knocked off. use a different color. So the asset clearing account is debited in AP and created in FA. This is also knocked up. So the net journal entry is asset cost account debit 150,000, cash account credit 150,000. So that is the main entry. So debit what comes in, asset is coming into our business, you are debiting that. Credit what goes out, so your cash or bank is going out, so that is what you are crediting. So if you follow this particular AP process, then everything will be pretty straightforward. You will be able to see proper entry. But if you do not use this particular AP, if you are using FA, so your journal entry will be asset cost account debit, asset clearing account credit. You do not have any other journal entry to clear that particular asset clearing account or to knock off that asset clearing account. You need to go to GL and pass some manual entry to knock off this as asset clearing account debit and maybe cash or bank account credit. Okay, so that is the reason why we use the FA module.